Tiger Woods is the GOAT, plain and simple. Let's take a look at takeoff angle and velocity to figure out how far one of Tiger's tee shots would go if it was hit in a vacuum, aka there's no air resistance. So this shot has a launch angle of 22 degrees and a velocity of 60 meters per second. But we can't directly use this information until we figured out the vertical and horizontal velocity components. In the vertical component, we can calculate vertical launch velocity as sine of 22 degrees times the hypotenuse or resultant velocity of 60 meters per second. This results in a vertical launch velocity of 22.5 meters per second. In the horizontal component, we can calculate horizontal launch velocity as cosine of 22 degrees times 60 meters per second. This results in a horizontal launch velocity of 55.6 meters per second. Because air resistance is non-existent in this hypothetical scenario, the horizontal velocity of 55.6 will be maintained for the entire flight. So we really need to know how long the ball is in the air. To figure out flight time, we can apply our first equation of constant acceleration to the vertical component of motion. We will use half the projectile's motion from launch to peak height, because we know vertical velocity is 0 at the peak. Thus, final velocity will be 0 and initial velocity will be 22.5 meters per second. Time is calculated to be 2.3 seconds, but keep in mind this represents half the time in the air. To calculate how far the shot went, we simply multiply the horizontal velocity of 55.6 times the full time in the air, which would be 4.6 seconds, resulting in a horizontal distance of 255.8 meters. I hope you enjoyed this projectile motion problem that calculates horizontal range based on launch angle and velocity. Obviously, in real life, wind and spin have large influences on a golf ball's actual trajectory.